Hey, how are you?
I'm good, and you?
Always good. When I hear your voice, I'm always good.
Okay, it's the
Hi,
same for me.
Olivia. Yeah. So, FreakJesus, Nuno, it is so nice to have you for the interview this for us evening, for you still late morning in Portugal.
Yeah,
I'm really pleased actually to to have you in the list of 35 artists. Personally, I just feel that you are, especially you are one of the artists that that I feel will prosper so much of the lounge that we are doing. You and I, we met in April,
yeah,
through an introduction through a fellow collector, Q. He and I used to talk a lot, and he one day said, "Hey, you should look to FreakJesus," which I did, and we started to be immediately in contact together.
yeah,
I bought an artwork from you. But actually, for you being an earlier starter, you kind of struggled to find your space. Of course, you had an Android phone. You didn't have an iPhone. You could not join in that very early stage, which was quite pivotal for the early adopters, the early artists. You couldn't join Clubhouse because it was not yet open for Android. Secondly, I think you had an old iPad, not with the latest
yeah,
abilities, Procreate and everything.
yeah,
And then, of course, also, you're still a little bit more shy in your English. And I think all those factors actually were the reason that you kind of found it difficult to catch on and to really show your skills. And I think because of that, that had also and correct me if I'm wrong, but the way I looked at it, then also you started to struggle a little bit because you really thought that this was your future, and you started to do different art styles and to experiment where you could find your entry in the space. And that made it even a little bit more difficult, because for collectors it was quite difficult to understand your true self and your true skills. And but we both stayed in contact. And then actually I remember it was not too long ago, a few months ago, when you made the greatest, the Muhammad Ali piece, that I really said, wow, what is this? What is this? This is so cool. And I didn't hesitate at all. I immediately bought it, and we started to chat again. And that actually led to you creating the 27 Club.
yeah,
And for sure, later maybe you can explain about that. And actually, I remember once you launched it, you immediately were a sellout, and you launched the second one, and people like it. And to be honest, everyone now likes your style. You created really your own very clear look. And I must say, everyone who I show around here your work is everyone is very enthusiastic about it. They love your work. It has a tip of Basquiat in it, but there are also other artists as well in it. But still, you have your own signature, and
yeah,
I think you're very original in your art form. So that's a little bit an introduction from me, how I view you. Of course, especially for me, knowing your path, I always felt, as an extra, stimulus for myself to really try to give you this space, because I really believe you're very gifted and creative.
yeah,
And so again, I'm super happy you're in this team. And actually, to finish it off, I'm telling many of my friends, you better buy FreakJesus, artwork still from OpenSea. as long as it's still available for this low price, because I'm sure, you know, this will not last for long. So so that's the heads up that I give here around. And so then that was actually my introduction. Olivia is doing an amazing curation, and so I'm going to sit back and listen to a very interesting conversation between both of you. So thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Frank, for everything.
FreakJesus, it's really wonderful to meet you here and to introduce you to the MetaArt Club community, who I know are all dying to hear more about your incredible working practice as an artist. And thank you to Frank Smits for that incredibly kind introduction and really, you know, this overview of your dynamic last year. And obviously it hasn't all been about 2021. Maybe the NFT space has been, but obviously you've been a practicing artist before that. So can you please give us an overview of how you got into the art space and how this all began for you?
Okay, so for me it's a pleasure to be here and to be in this this project, and I'm really pleased from the invite. And I hope everyone likes my art. So since I was little, you know, I always draw and paint, and even when I was a little younger, my mother was a dressmaker, so I made like design clothes for my toys and something like that, you know. But here in Portugal, well, I think when I was young, the artist thing, it's nobody looks like a job, you know, no future in that. So my parents, they were looking to me and say they tried to create something that give me some money in the future. I didn't do anything from art, so I went to college and I graduated as a civil engineer, you know. So, and I work as a civil engineer until August this year, and I started to think in art. It was like 15 years ago, I think. We have that crisis here in Portugal. I think it was around the world. So, and then I didn't have a job, so I started to create do some freelance graphics designs, and but the thing I started I always draw and paint, you know, but I didn't like show to anyone. That year I was it's funny because I was working as a volunteer in the shelter talk, you know. So, and I was I do lots of stuff there, but
As in, sorry, FreakJesus, as in homeless shelter?
It's yes, a shelter dog, you know, where
Oh, shelter. Okay, amazing. Yeah.
So
cool.
I was volunteer for almost 7 years. So, and I do lots of things, and I started then to create the posts for Facebook, like the logo of the association, the posters, flyers, and it was the first time that I start to work like with Photoshop and other, and I start to realize that I love to do that, you know. After that I start to create like jobs as a freelancer from companies and something like that, but it wasn't like not very professional, you know. So and I always see and look the digital thing and online internet. I think it was the future, you know. But sometimes I struggling. I didn't know what to do. So one time I start to create lots of things, but just only for me, just for fun. And one time I start to searching about art and where I can put my things to people look, and it was I think the first time I know the Know Origin, the platform, and I filled my form, but I think I didn't wasn't set at that time, and I think it was like 3 months later, I tried to Know Origin, Super Rare, and Maker's Place, and they in that time they saying that they were full, they weren't accepting anyone. So 2 weeks later, I received a message from Know Origin that I was accepted. And then I start to putting my stuff, but it was like I don't have any expectations, you know, just putting. And then I start to selling something new. So it was, well, that's fun, you know. I'm doing things that I like and making a little money. And I think it was in August 2020 that I went to Rarible platform, and it was I think that's changed all my perspective, because I start to selling a lot, you know. I was putting like 3-4 pieces a day, and I was selling everything. So I was in vacation and I was putting my stuff, and I was selling, and then I started to think, well, maybe I should invest in this, and well, and I tried to create my my portfolio, right? And now I'm here, you know. I think it was like this, but we have like ups and downs, you know. Even I think it was in October 2020, I stopped selling, you know, but I think it was almost everyone, every artist, they were struggling, and in that time I was like Frank said, I was experimenting lots of things, you know. I start to as the college artist, creating college, and I started to then to create a glitch art, and after that I start to creating different things to, I don't know, I think I was sometimes I get bored to do the same stuff, you know, and I tried to do different things. So, and it was like this year that Q, he sent me a message and he said, hey, maybe you should try to create, to design or draw in Procreate in iPad. And then I started, well, I should try, because I love to draw. I have lots of sketchbooks and something like that. So I bought an iPad, a new iPad, and since that, I think I found myself as an artist. So it's sometimes it's a little bit it's a good feeling, because it was like a collector that showed me something, that showed me like some my way, you know. And now I think I found my style, and I'm really happy to do what I'm doing now, and it's that.
Oh, that's amazing. Thank you for sharing your incredible story. I mean, I think it's just so interesting for all of our collectors who are going to be watching this to understand, you know, your incredible trajectory as an artist, and your bravery to just kind of leave behind, you know, what you were trained to do, which is being an engineer, and tap into your creativity in such a powerful way. So that's super cool. I wanted to ask you, FreakJesus, about where you are. So you live near Porto in Portugal, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I born in the city that is called Braga. They call the Portuguese Rome, you know,
Yeah.
because it was founded by the Romans. And
Okay.
now I'm living in a small village, like it's like 10 kilometers from there. It calls Póvoa de Lanhoso. And because I went here because the rent, it's more cheap, you know, but it's
Yeah.
easy to be in the city. This is a small village, and well, I never worked in a foreign country, but I usually travel a lot, you know. I think I visit almost like 35 countries. I think I knew almost all countries in Europe, and Asia. It's like I- my place that I love it. I visit Cambodia, Vietnam, Indonesia, Thailand, Sri Lanka, uh, and more and more. I don't know if,
Incredible.
and I'm passionate about the Asian culture. You know, it's maybe one day I will go there to establish that. I don't know, but I love the Portuguese culture, you know, and I love lots of a lot my country and my family. It's usually something that I get attached too much. So sometimes I think it will be difficult to be outside and not see my mother and father, you know.
Yeah.
Like I'm I don't know the word little baby for my mother. I don't know the but
Mother's boy. They say
yeah,
mother's boy in
yeah,
a nice way.
yeah,
So I wanted to ask you, you know, Oporto has quite, and Portugal in general has like a punk subculture that I know about anyway.
yeah.
And punk themes come forward in your work in quite a unique and vivid way. Is that something that, you know, you've been kind of surrounded by aesthetically, or is that just more like they're your references growing up
Yeah,
in
I
terms of
think
music and stuff?
yeah, I think it's one time I was watching the TV and that programs like I don't know like American Idol, something like that, you know, that we have this also in our country. And one of the judges he said that Portuguese are for generally they like a lot of rock, you know. And I see since I was young, I start to always to listen to rock music. It changed. I listened lots of like Guns N' Roses, and then I have a time that I start to listen to Sex Pistols, Clash, and Ramones, and something like that. And I like lots of different styles of music, but like punk rock, it's something that I really love, you know. And I think the rock. I know. I think I'm sometimes I feel I'm a rock star, you know, and it's something that even when I go to some place and I start to listen a rock or rock song, punk rock, it always comes like some feelings when I was a teenager, you know, when I go to concerts and listen that kind of music. And I think in that time even we see punk rock like it's a strong music. All the people there in that time when it was like uh, uh, very friendly, you know. We go to the concerts and we see lots of love, you know. I don't know how I can explain. Now I see that sometimes people go to the concerts, rock songs, and we have too much violence, you know.
Right.
And at that time, I think it was like more beautiful, you know, like more colorful, and that's what I feeling. I think now the youngest people are more like more violent in that kind of they do lots of things that I don't recognize me
Yeah.
and that's but I've always have that punk rock inside me, you know, and it's cool.
Yeah, that's super cool. And in Porto, you know, there's this incredible community of craftsmen and art galleries, and you know, was that something that also influenced you growing up? Did you get exposed to those communities in any way?
Oh, yes. Where I live, it's like in the city where I born, Braga. It's like it's the most religious city in Portugal. You know, if you have lots of churches and people are very religious, and but we have always when we go to Porto, it's all like it's more like underground, you know, like a London feeling, you know. Let's I think it's the most city that is like the London culture, you know. Like
Yeah.
for example, Lisbon, it's also beautiful, but it's different. The environment in Porto, it's more like punk rock, you know, and it has lots of like galleries and like great pubs and that we go there and we have like art to see and I think it's here in the north. I think it's the most cultural city that we have, and well, all the people that all the cities that are around Porto, they see that Porto is like that. So when I was young, when we go to Porto, it was like something I don't know. Spectacular because we are going to see something that they were always on the uh, in the like mainstream, you know. We are we were like in the past and they were like in the future, you know. And so and that's it's cool because I live so near and sometimes I think that in that times it was really difficult when we go to Porto. It wasn't like it's now. It's even for the younger people, it's very easy to go to Lisbon, to Porto. It's more easy. In that time, it was a little difficult. So even when every year in the city that I live, when we have some rock gigs, it was like amazing, you know. So yeah, I think it's the thing that is also beautiful. So
Yeah, that's fantastic. I love hearing about that. FreakJesus, and you know, your name, your alias speaks to all of that. So just so spot on. And I think your work, it's really beautiful, but it shows that kind of tension and the clashes of culture in a really beautiful, vivid way. So you know, I wanted to find out first of all how you work as an artist. You know, are you like someone who wakes up and creates every day, or are you thinking about works in your mind before you actually start on them, or how does that process play out for you?
okay. it's not I think not every day is the same day, you know. So when I start to create art, so I was working as a civil engineer, so my I just only create at night, you know. And now it's funny because I'm because I think I like was like 1 year or 1 year and a half working in that way. So my creative, it always, I start to create only at like 6 p.m. or something like that, and goes to 2 a.m. something like that. So usually the creative the, the the concept of the piece, it comes like in at night. So, and during the day, now I have when I have the all the things, I try to give the some touch, you know. So I can tell you because I was creating. I'm just showing something to you. Okay. So I had a piece that I think I show already to Frank. So I was like now I
Oh, wow.
was like creating something. So I have the
I love,
concept. So I know I'm trying to put all together, you know. But and I also now I'm creating this and creating all the collage with the drawings. So I usually in the day I I pass much time looking to like websites like Library of Congress, Flip Commons,
yeah.
to seeing photos. So I have lots of photos from the from websites, and something that I really like, it's uh, to look to pictures like from 1930 or something like that. I like to put in my piece some retro things, you know, vintage, and try to make some new look like punk rock new. And yeah, because I think when I look to the older pictures, I don't know, I have some they give me some good feeling. I don't I don't know how to explain, but it's something that gives me good feelings and good sensations, and that's like this. So I during the day I see some photos, and when I have all the concept, I try to work and finish the piece. And usually at night it's when I try to I have more my creative side comes, I think. But it's but sometimes I do during the day, so but usually it's at night.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I love to hear about your love of collage, and also, you know, the vintage references that you just mentioned, FreakJesus, because I think for those of us who understand that, I mean, I feel the same way. Like when I look at your work, it really kind of, it's really evocative, and there are elements that feel really familiar about it, but at the same time it's totally new and unexpected. So it has that kind of duality that's really interesting.
Yeah.
For anyone, you know, looking at your work. And I wanted to ask you, you know, as part of you know, the works that you create, we've given you a theme for the MetaArt Club launch collection, which is a new beginning. Can you give us a little, I'm not asking for a spoiler, but can you give us a little indication of how many works you've created for us for this drop, and the themes that you're exploring in that?
Okay. So for me, it was I'm going to tell you the truth. It was really difficult to because new beginning is it's something that we have a lot of things that we can have new beginnings. So at first time I was thinking to create something about the new beginning, that is when we leave this planet and go to Mars to live there. So, and I was thinking to create like 4 pieces about like living during the travel and landing and something like that. So, but and I create 1 piece about that, so I can tell you that. But then I start. Well, I think I should create not to create like four pieces about the same thing. So I think I could create 4 different concepts. So that was 1 piece, and I have other piece that is about like an artist, how we see art in the past, and how we create art in the past, and how we create art in the present.
Okay.
I'm talking about me, so that piece is like about me, and I have other that is like, it's more like the piece that I showed. It's something like futurist, and I have other piece. It's I don't know if Frank let me say that. It's about Hong Kong. So, but when I don't want to talk about that piece, but it's something like about the old Hong Kong and new Hong Kong, you know, something about when the past and now what is it, you know. So
Okay, cool.
okay.
Well, looking forward to seeing your work. So thank
Okay.
you.
Okay.
And can I ask you, FreakJesus, you know, have you found that the NFT art community is one that is around you in Portugal, or has this whole journey, meeting other artists, you know, kind of cultivating your community with the likes of, you know, the artists that you've talked about before, which are like Eddie Gangland, for example, you know, are these people, are there any NFT artists in Portugal, you know, nearby, or is this something that you're really kind of pioneering and working?
Well, telling the truth, I know I have I belong to a group in the Twitter. They are all NFT artists. I think some are new, but I don't. I usually don't. What I'm going to tell is something in the past I didn't like to be in the Instagram, Twitter lots of time, because I think that I don't know. I get no, it's not tired, but I think it's something that takes lots of time of your life, you know. So I try to go there and be there, but I think I don't. I'm not like lots of minutes there and trying to, but I think I should maybe. But I start this journey just by myself, you know, and I start to at the some time I started to know some NFT artists from Portugal. Like I usually talk with 2 or 3, but I usually talk more with other artists from around the world, you know. I really love to because I think when we talk with someone, we have to, if we have like empathy, it's the wrong when we have empathy with the person, so we would talk much. So I have some artists that I really like to talk, and in collectors that I feel more confident and safe, I know. But here in Portugal, I think we have lots of new people, and but I'm not I don't know, the NFT thing. I think it's not how can I say, it's not too much explored here. You
Right.
know, I think as a community, right? You
Mhm.
know, and like we see in the other like Australia or Hong Kong, that you are creating this stuff in London. I think this it's a little in beginning. I think it's no, it's now it's more. I see every day it's more. The people are starting to get known and starting to create. But I think it's not too much. Um, I don't know. Evaluate.
Yeah, it hasn't evolved yet.
Yeah, I think.
Okay. Okay, cool. And you know, Portugal does have quite like a developed crypto community. Well, that's what we see from the outside. Like there's, you know, conferences happening and things like that. So I wanted to ask you your personal entry into NFTs, FreakJesus. Did you learn about crypto and the different methodologies that led to you developing your knowledge about NFTs, or was it art plus NFTs and now you're learning more as you go along?
At the beginning, I think when I start to put my stuff in the in no origin, I didn't know what was a NFT, you know. So I didn't understand the thing. So I was like, well, I'm going to put this here and let's see what all this works. So and I start to put, and then I start to, when I start to have some sales in something, I start to try to understand what is behind all that, you know, because at the, I think when I started, it was like more underground thing. So now I think it's NFT, it's like mainstream, and I think every like companies, they start to think that that will be something to do in the future. Even yesterday I read something about that company, the EA Sports, that create games. So they start to, I think it was the CEO that said that the future will be the NFTs in that in their games, and to people play to earn money. So I think
Yeah.
that too, and I think it's that.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. I you know, I wanted to just ask you as well, that, you know, as you develop your practice, FreakJesus, and you've met collectors like Frank Smits, and you've developed these really cool friendships that give each, I think they're very beneficial to both sides, both the artist and the collector, because it enables you to have a dialogue with your collectors. I don't think we've ever seen to this scale in our lifetimes, at least, you know, that you can speak to your collectors directly.
Yes.
They can talk to you about what they love about your work. They can give you positive feedback. I mean, it's just really, really interesting how this is happening right now because of NFTs. So do you feel like this is a digital renaissance or a revolution?
Yeah, I think it's really, I think it's a revolution in the art industry, because I never, well, I always been a digital artist. So I see that if we have like a physical work, it's people are that are they do that. Sometimes it's very difficult to try to put that on galleries, and it's not, I think it's not easy. And with the NFTs we can show to everyone, you know. It's even more easy to try to find collectors that are buying like your style or something like that. You can reach them, and I think it's the relationship with the artist with collector. It's so I think it's so beautiful, you know, because we can have the feedback from them, and I like to talk about my pieces. Sometimes I show to Frank my what I'm working. Sometimes he gives some advice that for example it was around, I don't know, the piece that he was maybe you should try new colors. And well, I look, and well, maybe, yeah. And I took his advice, and I tried to put new colors, and it works much better. So sometimes we are creating, but we have to always to look what people saying, and what is the present, what people like, and try to put all that in my work. I think and I think the relationship, I love to talk with the collectors, and even if they don't like something, I it's always something that I like to hear, and try to improve the next piece, you know.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, it shows as well, FreakJesus, that you have a vision for your work, you know, that you can accept feedback from a collector, that, you know, it might not be something they necessarily like, but it turns into a positive outcome for you because of the way that you accept their feedback, and the way that you work as an artist. So that's really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not like well, I know that some artists, they create like something they put, and they don't really care if people like it or not. I like that people like my work, but even sometimes I create some works that sometimes I look in the past, and I say, maybe that wasn't the best work that I do. But in that day, I think I was thinking that it was the best. But I think we have to always try to improve ourselves, and create something beautiful that people like.
Yeah.
And not and try to put all our feelings in there, in the pieces. So that's what I try to do.
Thank you. And your work feels like it has a lot of you in it. Like it feels quite raw and alive, and it feels really honest.
Yeah.
Are there qualities that you are more comfortable conveying in your work, and does that change depending on how you're feeling at any given time?
Well, For example, my works that I draw and paint, uh, only like drawing and painting. It's I don't know. I think it's sometimes I start to create and thinking th things that happened to me in my life, in the past, in the present, and sometimes what I think I want in the future. And so some they are really like like a part of me, you know. So, sometimes I look some pieces that they not make me cry, you know, but I think they have lots of my life there, you know. And sometimes it's like a reminder, you know. I look at and I see, well, I passed this phase, you know, and sometimes it's a good phase or a bad phase, and I try to remember because I think even when we have good times and bad times, I always try to remember that I have that, because in the future I try to if it was a problem, I hope to pass that problem, or if it's a good thing, I try to make the same things or even better things that comes to become a better life, a better person.
Mhm.
But also I think I have like two sides, you know. I have like the some pieces that I like to put like strong things, but I don't know if sometimes people understand that. But at the same time, I have a side that like a funny side, you know, like funny things, because I think uh, not only like the strong things are good, you know, but the good feelings, the funny sides of the heart, it's for me it's also something that I really like it. And it's funny because uh, sometimes I just want to create like fun stuff, and sometimes I have more like strong feelings, and I I try to put that. And I think uh, I have like these two sides, like something like a bipolar. And and it's funny because I have like people that like I see that they buy something like more fun and more sentimental. So it's and it's also fun to see that. And so but
Yeah.
uh, that's what I am.
Yeah, that's no, that also a really interesting way of speaking to your versatility as an artist, that it's, as you say, it's not just about conveying the intense emotions, but also the lighter and happier ones as well. So on that, I wanted to ask if you could please give us an overview, FreakJesus, of the 27 Club. What is the 27 Club, and why did you create this series of works?
Well, I was 27 Club. I think it was the collection that I have like more success. So I started the first thing I was trying. I didn't think in the 27 Club. The first piece that I start to work, it was the Jimi Hendrix. Um, and I was trying to create something because I always loved the guitar from Jimi Hendrix, and I think it was one day I was listening something about some music, and I was searching the internet photographs, vintage and something like, and I stop in the Jimi Hendrix photo. So and then I start to work in that, and I remember that he belongs to the 1027 club. So well, I start to think, well, let me see the artists that are in the 27 club. So I found that lots of the artists, they belong to my life, you know. So when I was young, like a teenager, I start to listen to the Doors. After that, I start to listen Nirvana, and when I was growing, I start to listen to go to the 70s and listen like Jimi Hendrix and Janis Joplin, and so I decided maybe I should create something about around the theme. So and then I start to with the Jimi Hendrix. I think the next was the Jim Morrison. And from that I start to creating about all them. So in the first series, it was I created six pieces. It was really easy because all the artists I really know them. So the list and then all the stories. The second series it was much harder to create because I think I only knew one or two, and but it was at the same time it was the most like pleasant to know them. So I start to create. I choose one and I start to watch, read some news about them, to watch some documentaries about them, and I try to find what they were, and I try to create something about them. So it was more difficult, but at the same time it was really fun and understand. So I really love it.
Yeah, that's really powerful, and you can feel that when you look at the works from the 27 Club.
Yeah.
You know, you can really feel that the power in
Yeah.
them as individuals, and obviously, you know, as you as the artist interpreting their, you know, their brilliance and their very, very short lives, like led like a flash, you know,
Yeah.
in the world, but then extinguished very young. So it sounds like a really interesting project, FreakJesus, and one that I can hear from the way you're describing it, that you
Then
put a lot of
it has
yourself.
a lot of rock there, I think. So it's just like myself in there. I don't know, but because it's something. It's really good when we create and feeling the for example in the second series I was only during like 2 weeks only listened the music from the person that I shoot, and even now when I go to the gym to work out, I always listen to the gits from Mia, and it was one of the artists that I didn't know about her, and I heard her story. I was like so sad. It's so a sad story with a beautiful woman and powerful voice. And
You know, I know your passion and I know your in-depth study, which was really, really cool. You know, we spoke about it, how deep you go into someone's life and you express that in the works in the finest details. And I guess many people who buy your work don't really understand why certain things are in the paintings.
Yeah.
You know, but it's all because you have done study and you learned a lot about them. So I was pretty impressed by that, and you felt that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it has been a journey for you, and but to be honest, I think the real exciting part is just to start soon for you, and we look really forward to to a successful launch of the MetaArt Club. One thing I also know that in case as a club we need any support from you, I know that you will always immediately stand up and help in any way. And that is so amazingly valuable, because we cannot do what we plan to do without creating that kind of teamwork. So I'd like to thank you already for what you have done so far, and look forward to working very closely together.
So FreakJesus, just to echo Frank's words, just thank you so much for your time today.
Okay.
And it's been a real pleasure meeting you. I hope that you will come to Asia, well, to Hong Kong. I know you've been to Asia.
Okay.
I hope you'll come back, and that
Okay.
we'll get to have an opportunity to sit down with you in person at some stage in the coming months. And maybe I'll get to meet you on a podcast, and we'll get to talk some more there.
Okay, it will be a pleasure for me. Okay, thank you very much for having me. And I hope the project will be a success. And it's really amazing to be a part of like a big project like this. So I'm really thankful for having me, and I hope all the art that I create, people like it. Okay.
We're so excited to be as part of the MetaArt Club. So thank you very much, FreakJesus.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Frank.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.